Well, welcome back, my friends. This is the Emerson Knives Bulldog. I bought this about a month ago, maybe a month and a half, to replace my Emerson Vindicator. I carry a Emerson with me every day. You've seen the title, my Go to Hell Knife. I'm going to kind of explain that. It has nothing to do with religious connotation, but we're going to get into that in just a minute. What I'd like to do right off the rip is give you some specs. The overall length of and we're going to go from the tip. Now, this is the Tonto chisel grind. And listen, guys, I'm not arguing about the chisel grind. That's what they call it. That's what we're going to call it. Okay. Um, Overall length is 7 and 11/16. The blade length, I'm getting right here at 3 and 1/16. Now, I pull all these myself. Cutting edge is 3 inches. The handle is a little shorter than most of my Emersons. I was a little taken back by that. Doesn't matter. I've gotten used to it, so no, and they made up for it with the ergos, but you do need to know this is not the typical length of an Emerson handle. So the Emerson handle itself or the knife closed would be right at 4.5 inches. So our inner grip here, and with a pocket knife, it's always a little different. But the inner grip, if we're going to use the full breadth of the inner grip, is right at 3 5/8. So you can tell that it's not a super long handle, but the ergos, they contour this handle to fit perfectly. And I'll be honest with you, I can't speak for anybody else's hand size, but I know that for me, I can get a good solid 4-finger grip, and it's like I'm locked in. Now, the blade width, the blade stock, let's see here, guys, is right at 1/8. And again, I pull all these. It is a liner lock. It is not a deep carry. It has grippy G10. Now, listen, when I say this shit's grippy, it's grippy. This is their chisel grind. Now, I'm not arguing about that. That's what they call it. And I know it's like a V chisel, something like that. The truth is, guys, I've carried an Emerson for over a decade, and I probably always will. We've had Ernie on Blade Talk twice. He is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, and he's genuine. It's not for show. He gives ample of his time. I got to meet him and speak with him at Blade Show. So I'm just going to be real with you. There's people who don't like Emerson knives who love Ernie. He's that guy, right? He's a fixture in the knife community, and I'm hoping we can get him back on Blade Talk soon. You could quantify me as a fanboy, and I'm okay with that. But I'm a fanboy because I carry these knives every day. Now, the go to hell term is an all-encompassing term. And as I'm talking, guys, I just cut and cut and cut and cut and cut. I know a little bit's at the top of the frame, and I'm apologize for that as we get deeper into the video. I got some much better shots also in this video. I tried to get a lot more views of the knife, a little up close, a little closer look. You can see there, that's the way it rides in pocket. You can see there, I threw it down. The G10 is insanely grippy. Some might call it aggressive. Now, for me, I like this level, and I'll tell you why. If I was to wear a glove, son, this thing would be locked in like glue. Without a glove, it's locked in anyway because of the contours. But you know how sometimes you throw on a glove and you just can't get a good grip? It's almost like they made this knife for glove use, even though the handle's a little shorter. Again, it contours in a stabbing position. We opened up stabbing a tire, as I often do. This thing is a stabber's dream. Now, I have heard people talk about the liner lock and failing. I have owned 5 Emersons. I've bought 6, owned 5. I personally have never had a problem. That's not to say it's not there for other people. For me, I haven't had it. And what I started doing in my videos is using a knife not exactly, because I don't walk around stabbing tires, but I cut a lot of stuff at work, right? And I use my knife to do it. Now, back to the go to hell term. It can be a work knife. It can go out to dinner. It can be a gentleman's carry. If I'm in a shitty spot, y'all know I don't talk a lot about self-defense on the channel. I'm not trained in it. I need to speak on it, but we have to bring up that Ernie is. And a lot of his knives are designed with that in mind. I like having an Emerson because if I put an Emerson in my pocket, I can carry it to anything, dinner, work, out and about, it will be there. If you've ever been in an actual fight, not made up internet fights, not stuff you see on TV, but if you've ever been in a real fight after high school, you know that it's up close, it's personal, typically it's nasty and it's in your face. So you need something that you can deploy. And if you've been sucker punched and you see that wall of white for a second, you know you've been hit hard. I've seen it more than I wish I care to admit, but you got about a half a second to get your bearings back. So you need a knife that'll deploy. And Emerson deploys like that. Now, it deploys like that if you practice with it. The wave technology is amazing, right? But you got to know, my Emerson typically rides in one pocket. I make sure that it stays in that pocket. That way it's reflex if I need it. And I pray to the Lord I don't at 53. Here we're doing some downward throws. I do the downward throws and the drop test with the Emerson, the Donnie B all day drop test, and throw it at the stump test for this reason, especially with a pocket knife. It's a liner lock to see if the lock would give. It did not, right? We did 3-4 hard downward throws. We dropped it. The other side is to see if it drops true. And then I like to see if it messes with the handle scales or bumps the tip or the edge. It did perfectly well. It's really, really, really well balanced. Now, while I'm thinking about it, right behind the wave, they've got some nice jimping. It looks aggressive. It is not. They've got, I'm going to call it a choil, but it's basically, where your pointer finger would rest, or if you're in the stabbing position, your pinky would rest. It's got a good guard there so that if something happened, God forbid, and the knife were to close, you've got some protection there, right? Also, the lockup, it locks up very, very well. Now, I like the open construction that Ernie does. I also like this. I like that the man uses Phillips head and flat head screws. Some people like more nuanced knives. Some people like the D10 and all of the stuff. And I understand that. I really do. For me, if you said, hey, Scab's pocket knife, it would be an Emerson. It's bare bones. It does what it's supposed to do. It's not flashy. The Bulldog was made for me. Again, and when I first got it, I thought, man, I'll go ahead and pick up a Commander. But the more that I've thought that because of the handle length, not the blade length, right? Emerson doesn't do a lot of long blades. I'm fine with the blade length. But I thought, let me give this thing a try. So for the past month, man, I've carried it. And I'm going to be honest with you. That Vindicator is my all-time favorite. But this thing right here, there's confidence. Like I'm holding it right now doing the narration, right? There's confidence in hand. Now let's watch here. Now guys, that's one of those trailer tires, okay? Thick as shit. I think I want to say they're like 10 ply. Our trailer tires are. It's just a stout thing, and we're just stabbing and stabbing and stabbing. I did a short where I stabbed it a couple times. No edge damage, no tip damage, penetrated very, very well. Right here, we're going to shave some wood. What I wanted to do in this video is give you some good looks at the knife and then use the knife, show you the different grips. The pocket clip lines up with my fingers perfectly when I'm holding it, so I don't feel any hot spot there. I like that a lot. Great one-handed open and close, easily deployed if you're using the wave technology. It has a thumb stud. I like that thumb stud. The first two Emersons I got, I wound up changing the edge style. I went from their V chisel to both sides. The Vindicator changed all that. I love their chisel grind, their V chisel grind. I don't know why, I just do. Now here we're doing the JC Owens tip test, and basically we're just make a quick bow drill divot. It puts a little pressure on the edge, and there was no damage. Again, guys, this is a knife that I bought that I will carry. Somebody will say, well, you're being biased. Yeah, Yeah. Based on carry, based on experience, based on a decade of Emerson. Yeah, I'm biased. Like I said, typically you don't see a lot of Emerson reviews, not because I don't like them, but they go straight in my pocket. And by the time I would review it, I've done use that thing, use that thing, use that thing. And that's not the basic gist of my channel. My channel is upfront, out of the box reviews. How does it work? Is it easily to use? Is it easy manipulated? This is a different one. Will I carry it? Well, yeah. This is not in the rotation. This is what I'll be carrying probably for most of this year. Now, I do plan on buying a Commander, and I may add one more, but the Bulldog, very happy with it. Took me a minute, but I'm impressed with it. It's a workhorse. I love it. Now, there was a time in this country where 22 veterans a day took their own lives. That being said, the number floats up and down. It's from 15 to 29. That's why here on this channel, we focus on the number 0 vets. We love you. You have a place here. Guys, I back to blue, and I get it. Back to blue till it happens to you. Well, it's happened to me, unfortunately, more than it'll happen to most. I have my reasons. I'm not going to argue or shove it down your throat. Finally, if you are an addict, and Lord knows I am, never quit quitting. Well, I'm Scab. You're not. The Emerson Bulldog. Badass, son. Check them out.